family and fellow soldiers. I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. Foundational Black Americans dumped Essencefest last year, and how much of an impact did that have? We need to ask the question because the tethers, foreign flags, bootlicks, and other assorted trash are always saying, you FBAs don't matter. You can't impact anyone's bottom line. You're all just online. Nothing you do translates to the real world. People like Richelieu Dennis are smarter than you. They got more money than you. Nothing you do is even going to bother someone like that. So stop kidding yourselves. You should just give up on this nonsense. After all, everyone's laughing at you, right? Well, you can call this the day the laughter died. Don't look now, but we're finally seeing how profitable Essencefest 2025 was, and not surprisingly, they're in the red. Deep in the red. Not only did that bootlick jamboree not make a profit, they owe a lot of money to, well, basically everyone. Essencefest owes the Ernest Morial Convention Center in New Orleans more than $400,000 from last year's event, and they're past due on paying at least one major contractor. And this is happening to them at the very moment that they're desperately and pathetically hoping to get state government money from Louisiana to fund this year's Essencefest. These charges of over $400,000 represents more than 60% of their charges for the event. So what that means is, if this reporting is correct, and we have every reason to believe that it is, these guys haven't paid more than 50% of what their charges are. Never mind that the convention center requires that the balances have to be settled within 30 days of an event. Well, it looks like Tetherfest missed that deadline by a few days. For Richelieu and the rest of Tether magazine, they've been getting money not only from gullible Negroes silly enough to still patronize them, but they've also been getting a windfall from the state. Louisiana's government is notoriously corrupt, and New Orleans is the epicenter for all of that, so they've been giving money to Essencefest without really requiring anything from them. But it seems the powers that be in Louisiana have gotten tired of humoring the likes of Richelieu Dennis. In 2025, the Louisiana legislature set aside $1.2 million for Essencefest. That's down from the $3 million that they gave those people just the year before in 2024. So the Louisiana legislature cut the money that they were giving to Richelieu Dennis by more than 50% in only 1 year. But on a side note, if you live in Louisiana, these are your tax dollars at work. And this is no accident. Foundational Black Americans can't get anything from the government in terms of funding. Brother Tariq has talked about this. Meanwhile, these tethers are being handed millions. And don't kid yourself. The people in these legislatures and these governmental offices who give the money to these guys, they know exactly who it is that they're giving it to. They know what their background is. And that's what greases the skids. Essence officials have repeatedly said that they need more support from the city and the state to make this year's festival a success. Yeah, I'll bet they need all the help they can get after last year's implosion. Now, what does it say that the most well-known and largest Black American festival is begging the state for money? That means they need government subsidies. And just to show you why New Orleans' Black Miss Leadership class helped Essencefest to degenerate into what it is, the current mayor has put together a dream team of bootlicks led by former Mayor Morial and Cedric Richmond, formerly of the Biden administration, who has a solid track record of prioritizing immigrants over foundational Black Americans. And this is who's going to return Essencefest to its former glory, a collection of tethers, bootlicks, and political punks. I won't hold my breath on that one. Dennis Richelieu has said that the festival has had significantly lower support from corporate sponsors in 2025. He blames that on corporations abandoning things like the DEI efforts that they claim to be undertaking. People like Caroline Wanga, who worked at Target, she was their DEI spokesperson. We see how well that worked out. But as far as significantly lower support from corporations, he ought to be looking at the significantly lower support he's been getting from the Black community. The wealthy white folks that Richelieu's been in bed with, they're not ponying up money to subsidize this stunt. Just like the Democrats, these tethers think that they're going to seamlessly replace foundational Black Americans with some other political or social base. And it just keeps failing because there is no substitute for the political or economic legitimacy we represent. There's a reason these other groups couldn't get anything going where they are. That's not an insult, it's a fact. If these other places had something going on, then why isn't Tetherfest packing up and going to those places instead? Richelieu and company want to center Africa. They openly declared that the Essencefest was now going to be about prioritizing Africa and deprioritizing foundational Black Americans, that they would use Essencefest to make Africa the focus of the world. Well, since they're whining about the Louisiana legislature and New Orleans and white corporations not giving them money, why don't they just ask all those African countries they're trying to appeal to for the cash? After all, this is their festival now, so they need to support it. Except they're not, because they never do. The same way that they don't produce or promote or support anything for their own people in Africa, if you're gonna bet all your chips on the motherland, then you better not complain when it comes up snake eyes. See, this is why Dennis the Dummy is in the US and he's not in Africa. This is why Marcus Garvey had to come here, and every single other African and Caribbean figure of note also had to do the same. If you're seriously trying to empower black people, or if you're just a black person trying to empower yourself, you can't get around the fact that all roads lead through the FBA community. Because this is literally the only place on earth where if you wave the flag of black pride, you'll actually find some people who will salute it. In Africa and the Caribbean, that doesn't happen. You have a bunch of colonized mindsets, people who see themselves as British subjects or French expatriates. Basically, they see themselves as dark-skinned Europeans. And this is made worse when you consider that they have an open disdain for all things black, including themselves. This utter contempt for blackness begins with Africa and the Caribbean so-called leaders, by which I mean both their political and alleged business leaders. Where are all the African and Caribbean politicians and businessmen running to support Essencefest now? They're not there. For the same reason that you have all these African and Caribbean migrants being rounded up, slapped around, humiliated, and these African leaders ain't saying boo about it. They won't even stick up for their own people. What kind of moron thinks they're going to come here and support a tether convention? They didn't support the tethers when they were in Africa. Only a lobotomized idiot would think that they're going to suddenly change heart now. See, Richelieu Dennis confused the opportunities and the support that we made possible with actually thinking that it came from him. Right now, he's seeing what happens when that support is merely reduced. He has yet to see what happens when that support collapses entirely. And the failure to pay the vendors has become a political problem for Richelieu and his pals. The chairman of the Louisiana Legislature's Appropriations Committee said that Essence officials will have to come to Baton Rouge to explain the delayed payments if they want to secure more funds. Quote, any event that doesn't pay its bills after we give it funding, that's a problem. Reports are Essence also owes a local production company more than $1 million, according to a source familiar with the situation. Essence is, of course, trying to put a pretty face on all this bad news, but they've reportedly declined to say how much they still owe their vendors. So they're not even telling people how much they owe. Well, I mean, whatever the number is not that high. How much is it? We can't tell you. Gee, wasn't it the white media telling us what a brilliant businessman Richelieu Dennis is? And of course, you got the suck-ups and the bootlicks who also work for the white media who were repeating that same line. Oh yeah, all these scumbags across the board saying Richelieu Dennis, he's a brilliant businessman, such a great businessman. More like a great BS artist. So for those of you keeping score, Essencefest now reportedly owes $1.5 million to a number of different parties after last year's complete failure. This goes to show what an utter and total disaster that it was, because foundational black Americans turned their backs on it. I tell you, these tethers, they don't believe in paying nobody, do they? Well, at least they're consistent. Go back and listen to my commentary about the fall of Essencefest last year, and the main thing I harped on was that these tethers don't do square business. They do dirtbag business. This is what happened because foundational black Americans decided that Essencefest had to die. But that was because the fools who ran it made it a point to spit in our faces. And this is the result. So much for, the FBA opinion doesn't matter. Whatever you guys do, it doesn't matter. You guys could all turn your backs on it, doesn't matter. Yeah, well, it looks like it mattered a lot, didn't it? Last year's so-called event was a full-on fiasco. Booths weren't open when they were supposed to be. There were all kinds of new fees and charges for everything. And the entertainers who were there were playing to an empty audience. People like Richelieu Dennis, or who white power wants us to think of as a black leader. This fool couldn't even lead a convention. These are people who lie, cheat, swindle, refuse to pay people the whole nine. This is exactly why Africa and the Caribbean failed to build a robust economy. Richelieu Dennis, who is from Africa, he failed to build a robust economy there. And this is the reason why. He's showing you exactly how these guys been doing business. And this is why we had to delineate. Because we got tired of people like that pulling stuff like this. The reason the tethers have no problem dumping on us and disrespecting our culture and lineage is because they never respected their own culture or their own lineage. The reason the tethers made common cause with white supremacy so easily and so quickly is precisely because they've taken the same mindset. That's how you get people like Caroline Wanga, formerly of Essence. Her family was literally collaborators with the East African slave trade, and she came over here to undermine us. This woman comes from a family of anti-black traitors. That's her lineage. And this is the reason why lineage matters. We got all kinds of people who white power has handpicked and selectively elevated because of their background. People who white power engineered the placing of them in positions over us, with white power funding them, backing them up, bigging them up, going ahead and making them prominent, giving them plenty of publicity, and then falsely claiming these are black leaders, people who show blatant open contempt for us. The tethers see themselves as the head Negroes in charge, the new overseer bootlick class. But before they can start barking out the orders, first they have to erase our identity. So of course they came in and declared that they were going to erase us from our own events, but that they were going to replace us with their own foreign identity and agenda. Well, now that Essencefest has been taken over by tethers and it's going to become Africafest, I say let all those Africans who they were trying to cater to patronize them from now on. Though I gotta warn you, with ICE on the prowl, it's gonna be kinda tough to get folks to show up. They'll have to move this thing to Nigeria in order to get anyone to attend. And even then, it's gonna be a modest crowd. You see, what the tethers are trying to do, at least with a lot of black folks, is they're trying to administer a mass IQ test to see how dumb some people are. They know from experience that too many black people have voted for nothing, gone to churches that they knew were a den of vipers, but they kept going anyway. Black folks keep watching TV shows and patronizing people who insult and denigrate us. That's the sad habit that a lot of us have engaged in. So of course, when you have the most disrespectful people in the diaspora come around, far as they're concerned, hey, you've been taking abuse and disrespect this long, why stop now? Black people are so used to making excuses for being insulted and disrespected and facing racism and bigotry that tragically for most black people, it's become a reflex to just make an excuse for it, try to minimize it, downplay it, and keep on spending our money and our time with the same people who insult us in the first place. It's become a reflex for too many black people. It's one thing to understand the circumstances that we're not able to change at the moment, but it's another thing entirely to give ourselves reasons to spend money, to give our vote or our time to people and things that attack us. Essencefest has devolved into a tether finesse, and not a very good one. It's just another janky example of why people who disrespect foundational black Americans always wind up losing in the end. They feel very clever with themselves at first, but then fall flat the next. There's a rule about the scumbag move that the tethers tried to pull, trying to replace us with some other constituency. You don't let go of your old audience until you already have the support of whomever your new audience is going to be. But the tethers never have known anything about getting support. We are a threat to white power and its bootlicks, so they can't afford for us to be around too long because we're inevitably going to require them to do things that will undermine their own anti-black agenda. That's why they can't wait to try to replace us. Because we won't let them wait. Essencefest is already dead. For the black folks out there who are in denial, get over it. Accept it. We pulled the plug, okay? You have to go find some meaningless party somewhere else. After all, black folks' money should not and must not go to hostile foreigners. At this point, Essencefest needs to be defunded. It's nothing more than a giveaway scheme for tethers and probably the corrupt politicians in New Orleans. They've declared that they're an African festival now, which means Africa needs to be funding them, not us. Full stop. If they're going to be begging for money from a government, then let it be their own, and not one of ours. And they can't be allowed to masquerade as if they're us, which is what they're doing. That's what a tether is. They need to be identified as an immigrant festival, not just by us, but also by these slimy white media organizations too. They should be made to identify as an immigrant function and to have to call themselves that. They're not American anything. Oh, some of the morons in the comments will say, but they are a media company. Well, as I've taught you, any media company is defined by who owns it, who controls it, and whose interests they operate in. Richelieu and Caroline Wanga are foreigners. They own and run what Essence does, and they operate in the interest of a continent on the other side of the world. That's what Essence is now, what it's been for a number of years, and that's where they need to go. But family, never underestimate the power of your voice. Everyone tries to pretend like they don't hear us, like they're not worried when we begin to speak against them. Everybody tries that ploy. They all try to put on a brave front and act like nothing has changed. But as we saw with ABC News' FBA piece, they hear us and they fear us. Why? Because we are the pulse. We walk away and they're the ones who disappear. We've always had the power, but we've also always had liars, agents, and tethers who slithered amongst us and told us not to use that power. that's because they're the ones who would get crushed. And now these exact same fork-tongued fools are quaking in their boots as they try to pretend, just like last year, that we're not having any effect, and why they're not worried. Why, what, we should be concerned about you guys? Oh, that's not even important. But if these people aren't worried about what we're doing, why are they even talking about us? You'll see them in the comments section. Now that they're seeing that the wheels are falling off of Essencefest, these same people are going to be claiming, well, y'all just don't want black folks to have anything. Y'all just ain't supporting nothing to black folks. I mean, if Essencefest goes away, what is we's going to have? That's what they're going to be trying to say next. Oh yeah, we've been having a whole lot of these scumbags who suddenly have been trying to talk some phony unity speak. Well, we need to be unified. We need to come together. Really? Is that what Richelieu Dennis was talking about? Was he talking about unity with the FBA community? Was that what Caroline Wanga was talking about? Or were these scumbags and pieces of garbage getting in our faces telling us they don't have to do anything, wagging their fingers at us, insulting us, talking down to us? Is that what they were doing? Any moron who at this late date is still trying to bring up the, well, we need us some unity nonsense. You can start by asking Richelieu Dennis why he decided that he would oppose us instead of unify with us. And then you can ask all the other fools before him why they were doing the same thing. We're not in the wrong. They are. And that's the reason why these idiots who try to call themselves defending Essencefest, they're not even pretending as if they should be asking, well, what's Richelieu Dennis's next move going to be? What's Essencefest's next move going to be? Without the support of the foundational Black American community, their next move is going to be a U-Haul. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Dia Williams, James Hampton, Samora Morris, Faith Speaks Life, and Cedric Etheridge. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.